what do you think about this, Ike? Is it time to bench Big Ben?
Well, first of all, no, I don't think so. To answer your question, no. And the reason why I say no, you still have enough AFC games to play. So see how Ben does in these AFC games, you know? And then after the AFC games, you know, is he the problem? And that's what you look at. So you just look at the course of everything. I don't think 7 is the total blame. I just think 7 needs to go tell the offense coordinator that we do need to run the ball. I think 7 has that kind of power on that side. He's been in, you know, the organization for a long time now, over 15 years. They'd be like, you know what, man, let's try to establish a run game. Now, if you don't want to do that, then I think 7 is the problem. Now, you can say whatever you want to say about the offensive line, but we started to see a lot of teams in the NFL who has a lot of young offensive linemen. But one thing they're trying to establish is the run game. And when you don't try to establish a run game, you expose offensive linemen by putting your offensive linemen in harm's way and your quarterback by trying to pass the ball 48 to 50 times a game. And I think that's too much what the Pittsburgh Steelers trying to do. They're trying to pass the ball 40, 45 to 50 times a game. And you see what the record has given us. It's given us 1-4, 1-3. So that's the only issue I don't like. And having a defense like Pittsburgh got a top 5 defense. So having a defense like that, it's just hard keeping them guys on the field all the time. Sooner or later, man, Coach T got a philosophy. You know, bend but don't break. But if we just doubling plays, if the offense got 60 plays and hell, the defense got 75 plays, 80 plays, they're going to wind up breaking regardless. But that's just been an issue. I don't think it's time now to bench 7, but it's getting close. It's getting real close, and I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you how they're going to finesse it. They're going to say 7 has a lot of injuries, and he needs to let his body heal. Basically, I'm going to save grace and say we're not benching you in the public. I guarantee you that's exactly how it's going to happen. They're going to put him on IR, and that's what they're going to do. Excuse me.
Ike, you mentioned the offensive line. I didn't think they played that poorly yesterday because Big Ben was hit just 5 times yesterday. He had 40 passing attempts. He was pressured only 7% of the time. That's the lowest percentage by a quarterback with 40 pass attempts since 2013, Ike. That's from ESPN Stats and Info. And I look at Big Ben and I ask myself a few questions. How many of his stats where if you just look at the box score and you say, 232 yards, a touchdown, an interception, 26 completions, how many of his stats come when the defense is playing off coverage and almost more of a prevent defense to prevent any deep shots for when you're trailing multiple scores, a defense keeping everything in front of it? And then the other question I have is how the team has to play nearly a perfect game to win because of the struggles of this offense. And it's like we talked to Solomon Wilcots of the Bleav in Bengals podcast, a former player, Ike. We heard it during the broadcast with Tony Romo where Big Ben misses Juju Smith-Schuster on a deep shot. The week before, Big Ben misses James Washington down the field.
Right.
You missed your deep shots, and you always tell me, listen to the players. And what the players are saying is when you have those opportunities, you've got to take advantage, and you can't miss those throws. It's the second straight week we've seen that with Big Ben.
Yeah, that's the issue. Just not getting the ball up. And teams understand they'll rather give up Big Ben throwing deep balls now and sitting on intermediate routes to short routes. Because that's basically what they're doing. So is 7 the issue? I think he's part of the issue. Really, I think he's damn near 60, 75% of the issue on the offensive side to keep it 100 with you. But it's not time to bench him. I'm looking at, they 1-3 in their division. Everybody else in the AFC North is 3-1. Mm-hmm. They're 0-1 in their division when it comes down to AFC North games. Right now, the Bengals are 1-0. So that's a good thing. It's just Pittsburgh have to win out in their division to at least have a chance. But it's a tough uphill battle from what I'm looking at. In the offense, they're in the middle. Passing 15th, receiving 15th, and 32nd in rushing. That's not going to win you no ball games when you 32nd in the league. Now, Mr. Rooney said in the offseason, man, that he'd be damned if they're last place in rushing. And little did we know, they're 32nd in rushing in the NFL. That's not a good sign, 50 points total. That's 28th in the league. That's not a good sign. And just looking at what the defense has been doing on the defensive side, they've been keeping Pittsburgh in games. It's not like they're not keeping Pittsburgh in games. It's just usually you say this about a defense or a team, but the Pittsburgh offense is finding ways to lose these ball games for the Pittsburgh Steelers overall in general. That's just what it is.
Failing to score 17 points in each of the 3 games during the 3-game losing streak, Ike. And you say the sideline tells the story. I'm sure you saw Juju slamming the tablet down. And it's like, this is not to take away from Big Ben's career. He's the 18 years as the Steelers quarterback. He's been terrific. But
right.
Dating back to what we saw last season when the Steelers lost 5 of their last 6 games, and then the first 4 to open up this year, a lot of times in the NFL, it's what have you done for me lately? And I'm just to the point where whether it's Mason Rudolph, you've got Dwayne Haskins under contract for just the 2021 season. If it keeps up as is, and like I think I'm already at this point to say, let's see what the young guys can do here.